to call the Kampoosa Stewardship Committee meeting to order. Hi, Arthur. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good.
First thing on the agenda is to approve the minutes from January 23rd. I already gave Louise a little bit of feedback, just a couple of typos. Does anybody have anything else? No? Okay, so I vote that we approve the minutes from January 23rd. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Passing unanimously. Great. Okay, status of outreach and records collection. So Stockbridge Conservation Commission documents. I don't know, Lisa, if you have anything new to share.
So what they said at the last meeting is really the only involvement of the Concom has been invasive management. There was one treatment, I think in 2002. I don't have it in front of me, but that's the only involvement they've had.
So I can take this off of
You can take that
future
off.
agendas then. Got it. Okay.
Yep.
See, we've got it. Oh, it's nice to take something off the agenda for once. Yay.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay, museum and archives, the news clippings, Louise, you're still digging through?
Yeah, I've actually downloaded a bunch of stuff electronically just to have because it's kind of fun to get. And I'm
Yeah.
working on just a spreadsheet, sort of a la the one that Rich had for his documents, just to kind of see how that goes for newspaper clippings. I don't think there's anything, of immediate concern or interest to us, but I would still like to have the record because I think it's kind of interesting. And when it's done, I'll just send it out to everybody.
Are there hundreds and hundreds, Rich always says, I've got, a 5-inch folder and a 3-inch folder. Like, is it a lot?
No, it's not that much. It's really not. And some of the things I still have only in paper. That's just, I haven't found them electronically. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time hunting down things electronically that there's no need to keep records of.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. So I'd rather get, a folder from Rich and do what he's doing with some of the material he got from BNRC. So.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, so I don't think this is something we need to keep on. On the agenda, I've got the work underway and it's not of particular moment. So.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
NHESP, I have to keep on the agenda because I have no new news. Let's move on. I really wish I did have new news, but I haven't heard from anybody there. I had that great conversation with Alex Entrup last time. He said he would speak to Chris, the guy that would be the one. I think Chris is the most senior person, so it would be up to Chris who talks to us and checks in with us and gives us information or whatever. And I just haven't heard from anybody, so I'll keep trying.
So when and if you do hear, I know in the original management plan, in the one I've been looking at from 1999, I think they identified 5 endangered species. That's off the top of my head, but I think it was 5. So I would just be curious if they have information on whether those endangered species from 1999 are still there 24 years later.
I'm going to say off the top of my head, I thought it was like 20 plants and 2 animals or something like that. I thought it was more than that.
So it might be more than that, but I'm curious as to whether they know whether or not they're still there.
Yeah, right. Has anybody done a survey of any kind or,
I know that the New England Wildflower Society has gone out there.
Yes.
I think that's for natural heritage, but I don't know what they're looking at.
And I think you did get one, they had sent us that one
I did respond.
document, saying, but some of this is off the top of my head because I haven't looked at that in a while. I know I have it somewhere in my folder, or I guess maybe it's in my email. They had the list from the Wildflower Society. What's their new name now? Native Plant Trust?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because I signed up for their emails. Yeah. So Native Plant Trust, let's say there were 15 items on that little spreadsheet that they gave us. Yep. One of them hadn't seen it since 1999. Another one, they saw it in 2018. So it was a little bit all over the place.
Right, but it may be, because I've done some surveys for them or with them, it may be that's the last time anybody went.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean
it doesn't mean it's not there. It just means nobody's checked.
Right.
Sure. Okay. Local Mass Wildlife Office, if Rich comes back, we'll check in with him. Oh, Tennessee Gas. So I copied you all on an email. I did finally hear back from somebody, left me a voicemail. Just to remind all of you, Tennessee Gas had a member who was on the previous committee, and I searched I guess it was Massachusetts Fish and Wildlife, or maybe it was the NHESP website for the state, and just put in Kampoosa, and a Tennessee Gas 5-year plan came up, for future. So I reached out to them, and a guy left me a voicemail. So I reached back out to him. I copied you all in the email. I haven't heard back from him, but what his voicemail said to me basically was, thanks for your call. Yes, we have a plan for Kampoosa. We also probably have a couple of people that you need to speak to. So the guy who left me the voicemail said, send me your info and I will pass your info to the correct people within the company. So I hope we'll hear back, from them. And if not, maybe I'll give another week and I'll follow up with him. But it would be nice to get the names of who those people are. And then my plan, unless somebody has a better idea, I'm really open to how we engage them. But I was sort of hoping one of them, whoever the people are, let's say 2 people, they come to our meeting and they just tell us what's going on. Like what's the current status and what's the current plan. And I think based on what they say, we can figure out what our next steps are.
And I would think it would also be really good for the Conservation Commission to know what their plan is. Because I mean, at least since I've been on 2 years, I haven't heard of anything from Tennessee Gas.
Okay. Yeah, because I would think, the same way that NHESP would need to engage the fire chief if they're going to do a prescribed burn, or the Conservation Commission if there's an NOI or a what's the other one?
They have
RGA.
to because they have right of way?
I don't know. I think I don't know, but I think they would have to at least inform.
Okay, because they have yearly operational plans that are available on the
Right.
mass.gov site.
Yeah.
So they're obviously, maintaining stuff every year, and presumably with herbicides.
Right.
So,
But I'm the president of a homeowners association, and we have the Tennessee Gas Pipeline, which has a right of way through our property. But whenever they're working there, they have to inform the association, whether that's in writing or whether that's just a verbal commitment that they've made. They always inform me before they cut things down, before they do anything. And even if they're just doing like a survey and they're driving through, they usually call me. They don't call me when they're taking the helicopter over, but.
So I can ask at the next Concom meeting whether Tennessee Gas.
I think that's a great idea.
Has informed them of ongoing.
I mean, they are accessing
cover
personal
plan.
property. So even though they do have a right of way, they still have to access the Marion father's property or somebody's property to get to their right of way, I would think. So therefore, you think they would have to inform.
Yeah, are you dealing with Tennessee Gas or Kinder Morgan? Who is the
It's the same company.
Yeah, the same, but
Kinder
okay.
Morgan bought Tennessee Gas, so.
Yeah, and I agree with you that they communicate with the owner of the land. Even though they have the right of way, they have to acknowledge that they're coming on your portion of the land for thing. And there's a tree down, and they come down and looked at it and told me they'd be coming. They communicate very clearly.
Okay.
So,
but whether they inform Conservation Commission, who doesn't own the land, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll ask.
Okay.
yeah. And I don't know of any time that they have asked the Marians on that particular right of way, or they just ignore it, or the Marians haven't informed me. I'll ask that question also.
Okay. Well, let's hope. I mean, the hope is that they'll respond to my email and somebody will show up at a meeting, and just we'll start the conversation. I don't know, see where it takes us. Nature Conservancy, Louise, anything new with that? Or
No.
do you even need to be on here still, or?
I think they do need to be on there. They were the major player, and I'm really interested in what they've done going forward. Sounds like there was a lot of information.
It does,
Renee
it does. I
had.
feel like a regular call to Rennie is probably in order.
Okay.
I know they have a lot on. It was interesting to hear last week when Kay said they had 8
Yeah.
employees, and now they
And
have
now
2.
they have 2. And
Yeah,
it's not like there's less to do.
exactly,
Oh.
exactly. Yeah,
I
so
didn't
know.
I'll ask, yeah.
And he had expressed interest in being part of the commission. I don't know what happened with that, but
He did, but I think that his disclaimer was, but we're only 2 people, so.
And I
Okay.
also think that we said, we would love to have you participate, but right now is probably too early.
Yep.
It's too premature.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just to not, to make the best use of his time would be to involve him later. Yeah, yeah.
but getting access to their information, I think, is really important.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Because
I think they were,
they've been doing things all along.
that no one else has been doing probably
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
so. Okay, now we're at, Rich, we skipped over local Mass Wildlife Office on the agenda. I don't know if you have anything new to share. I know those 2 gentlemen you spoke to were interested.
They are interested. We've been occupied with a couple other things going on
Yep.
in town. So I haven't really been able to pick their brain on that, but they are still interested. And I will assure you that next time we meet, I'll have more information.
Okay, so I'll keep them on the agenda.
Yep.
And then we have BNRC on here also, Rich.
Yes, so BNRC, I'm still going through this big thing here.
You brought it. That is a.
Just so I could just illustrate that it is sizable. And I haven't yet hit the Marions yet, but that's a big chunk of that. So I'm still just going through it and just trying to index it all. But I mean, it's just largely materials that went into, let's say this is the information that predates all of the research and other efforts that created the ACEC. So this is all the information about the changing of hands of people like landowners to the Marions, to the state and the BNRC and the Nature Conservancy. So this is all the sort of original information that was sort of setting that up in terms of what Kampoosa Bog would become. And then there's a whole other binder that looks like this, which is similar to what Concom has and what the Land Trust has, which basically is the supporting materials that creates that nice little binder about the ACEC. So.
Okay.
If there's anything that you want to share from that for somebody else to start,
You want to do the Marions part?
since it's your file, I'm going to let you.
I'll tackle it. I'm getting close to being done with this other project, so I can get back onto this.
Okay.
So.
Arthur, do the Marions have a file, by the way, of anything at?
It's
Eden?
it's not very thick. It's only the legality papers that transferred.
Okay.
Most of the research they did not get access to.
And then you already showed us the maps and gave me some maps. So,
Yeah.
Okay. So, landscape software follow-up.
Here's the Marion one.
Just in
so
time.
you know.
Right.
The landscape software, we may have some difficulty acquiring that at the municipal level because licensing is not ideal. Although I'm still working with Concom, with Ron,
Okay.
to kind of talk through this, just because it is, maybe we could find, so one of the things is I talked with the vendor isn't going to change their pricing for the town, but there's also like a per user fee. And I'm trying to get them to seriously reduce that, because if they don't, then we're basically no better off than we are now, where there's only like 1 or 2 people who have
Yeah,
access.
it's a
to this.
bottleneck.
So I'm looking to see what that would be in terms of solving that. The other thing I was going to inquire about is that, by virtue of the fact that we have a town email and we're using a Microsoft product to do that, we probably are entitled to Microsoft's cloud storage. And so we might be able to work through a process where we could have access to that. And then we could use that and create some sort of database or file structure that could be used in perpetuity. not
Okay.
Google, but Microsoft, just because we already are using Microsoft here. So I still have to have a conversation with Michael Canales about that, but that could be something that is a backup. It's certainly not, it's certainly not a software dedicated towards land conservation and tracking all that
Right.
information, but it could be something where we could all at least have access to it, and then we could at least have maybe like an index file that sort of details what everything is,
Yeah.
and then we know where everything is within the file structure.
And is Concom the only other commission in town that is interested?
Well, I mean, it's like, so it could be, so Concom, this Kampoosa Bog, the Bowl could possibly, I don't know, I think Concom oversees Gold Meadows, so that's Concom. So it's mostly Concom and Stockbridge Bowl and us.
What about ag and forestry?
I'm on that commission.
Yeah.
Maybe. I haven't asked, I can ask.
Yeah, I mean, the challenge, I mean, like, the other question I could ask is, could someone like the Land Trust who's looking into purchasing this, could we, even though we're not a town entity, could we,
I don't.
allocate some of this space that we're using in this software for the purposes of benefiting the town? I don't know where that falls and if that's,
Right.
you know,
Is that like,
if that's
murky?
kosher or not. Yeah.
right, right.
The legality
Yeah.
is a lot.
So I don't see the town footing the bill for this software with the municipal pricing that's in place.
Okay.
But the town might or should be able to allocate some cloud file storage and possibly some of Microsoft tools to allow us to create some sort of structure that could be preserved.
That allows multiple users.
Correct.
That's the whole
Well, it would at
issue.
least be us and anybody else who's on a town email
Yeah.
who's part of the, the conservation efforts, so.
Okay. Okay, well, keep fighting the good fight. Yee. Okay, next on the agenda, vision, mission statements and objectives. I had emailed all of you ahead of time what the previous committee had for their vision statement, mission statement, and then stewardship objectives and goals. And I pulled this from the 1999 resource management plan. I think it was on like page 6 or something of that. Page 4 of that plan. So I had wanted to bat this around a little bit, but I feel like a little bit in the interest of time, maybe we just read through it, and I feel like I should push this to the next agenda, give everybody a little bit more time to think about it. I can see from other documents that we already have that this was batted around quite a bit before in the previous committee, because there are, in some of the documents we have, there's previous versions of it that were drafts. So the vision that they had was to restore and preserve the bog. I do want to point out they use the word bog, knowing that really it's a fen, because they do clarify that later on. But preserve the bog by fostering community stewardship of the Kampoosa Bog Drainage Basin, ACEC. And then their mission is, through the union of stakeholders, we will educate the public, define baseline environmental data, coordinate cultural and environmental research, communicate research results, and communicate activities, review and comment on proposed developments, all in order to restore and preserve the bog. Then they had a list of stewardship objectives and goals, and this is where I think, well, maybe I should back up. So the vision is restoration and preservation, by pulling a whole bunch of people from the community together to do that as a group. I personally don't think that drifts very far from perhaps what we would want to do. The word restore, I love the idea of that. It scares me a little bit, because we don't even know what's been happening there for ages. So
Yeah,
I
and
don't
to
know.
use,
And restore to what
yeah.
or when?
Right,
What point of
yeah,
time? Yeah.
right.
It's a living organism that is going to take its own shape. We may be able to guide it or direct it, but we surely can't go in there and restore it or,
Well, and one person would say if we want to restore it, then we need to not have highways driving through it and there should be no gas pipeline and, you know,
Right.
et cetera. Yeah,
Do we actually have the capacity to oversee the restoration?
correct. Or the money or the
Well, I'm just
skills.
asking because
Yeah.
that's a pretty tall order. I mean,
Right.
Agree.
and you know, I feel like our capacity here is to be a clearinghouse of information so that the appropriate bodies of organizations or conservation or the town can help in guiding or having that direct oversight of doing it. I'm just asking because
And setting priorities. Yeah.
and setting priorities, like, it's like, to me, our only capacity really is to be a clearinghouse and to ensure that all the informed parties are informed to make an educated decision, right?
Yeah, I think it's,
I think-
for me, I think it's more about guidance and getting the right people together, you know?
I think that we should also keep the educational component.
Yeah.
We have an opportunity as we gather this material to share it.
That I totally agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yes. Yep.
In the interest of preservation, you know, I think what we're doing is in the interest of preserving the fen, but I agree, not restoring it.
Yeah, I think that's way outside of our capacity. All right, so the vision needs a little work, that word restore. In the mission, I mean, it talks about the union of stakeholders. It talks, right now, we don't have a union of stakeholders. We're the only union, the people in this room. But I think we're working towards getting, you know, some of the stakeholders engaged.
So a question about that?
Yeah.
Have we reached out to the Muncie community to see if they're interested in?
Not that I have not. I mean, when Patrick came to our first couple of meetings, actually, it might have been our first meeting, we were talking about the list of stakeholders because the original list from the previous committee did not have the Muncie tribe
Yeah.
on there. And I think we all agreed that that was an additional stakeholder.
I
That
can
would be-
certainly do that because I'm working with them on stuff for the land trust. So I have their ear
So
and at least extend the invitation.
to attend a meeting or to be part of the commission? I don't know what a stake,
Any of the above. It's,
Oh.
the challenge is that, you know, they're not here locally.
Mm-hmm.
They do have a local representative, but that person's not here all the time. So it's just a function of like, if they can zoom in, great. If not, you know, they really need to define what their desire or participation is. I would suspect they'd want to be involved
yeah.
just by virtue of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I have their contact info and I can.
And the archaeological dig binds them directly to
Sure.
Kampoosa Bog.
Sure.
I mean,
Well, and I wonder, maybe Rich, instead of you fronting that, maybe it makes sense for us to send a letter on behalf of the committee to them. Because right now it's, they probably don't even know we exist. So I feel like step one is hi, we exist. I know they've got a lot of, well, I don't know about a lot, but there are several different things going on with the town that they're involved in. I don't want them to think that they need to start showing up at our meetings and things like that when I don't think we're at a point where we can even say what it is we need from them. But I wonder if like a more formal letter, just saying, hi, we exist. We're just letting you know we exist. I don't know. Or do you think it's, I don't really know
No,
anybody.
I think it's a
Better
great
to have
idea.
yes.
There is definitely a protocol for reaching out to them though. Just that's the one thing I've learned is
Okay.
that, so we would probably want to reach out to both the local person and the person who she reports to, as well as the secretary of the tribal council. Because nothing happens at the tribe without the tribal council's, you know, consent.
Okay.
Is
And
Bonnie the local, Bonnie's the local person? She's in
Bonnie's the
Albany?
local person, but she
Yeah.
can't commit to doing
Yeah,
anything. She-
well, she's
it
the
has to
cultural
go-
preservation officer, I think,
Right.
correct? Yeah,
Right.
and
She
she's in
would just
Albany.
move it up she would move it up the chain But if we reach out with a letter that goes to all of them, then you're at least getting everyone involved that needs to
Okay.
be aware. That's all.
Okay. Okay. So would Michael Canales have the three?
No, I can give it to you.
Oh,
I
you
can
have all the
submit it.
info.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to take a crack at a letter. I'll run it by you guys. Because I think that's a good to do.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So just in the interest of time, since we have 8 minutes left, let's come back to this next week. Let's all give this a little bit of thought between now, not next week, next month. If you look at stewardship objectives and goals, I'm just going to say generally, I think some of them are great. I think some of them are out of our scope. And I think there's a couple of things missing.
Mhm.
So I think we can look at that, but I feel like this is a good place for us to start to try to figure out who we want to be and where we're going to go. Okay, so next, we had talked last time about wanting to go through the commitments from the 1999 resource management plan. Lisa, should we just push that to next month? I don't know how long you think that'll take.
I think it's going to take some time,
Yeah,
and you all have it. It's at the
Yep.
end of the management plan. So I'd rather, it
We-
starts on page 41.
okay, that's what I was going to ask. I want to make sure that we all knew what page it started on, because
Yeah, I
I
think
looked at it and I was like, ooh, there's a lot here.
There's a lot.
It's like 41 through 44 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I'd rather have the time to go through it.
yeah, agree. Then, okay, so our next meeting is Monday, March 20th at 5 p.m. As far as I know, we're back in the other room, the normal room. And then does anybody have anything else that didn't make it to the agenda? Okay, so now
You wanted to,
I was going to open up to public comment because we have Tim. He received our letter in December. Hi, Tim.
Hello.
Is there anything that you wanted to say or share with us? You were just like curious.
Thank you for the invite. And just listening to the discussion is interesting. I had done some internet research some time ago and pulled up some of the documents that you referred to.
Oh, good.
I also have some experience with natural gas pipelines, both operations and engineering experience. I'm an engineer, retired. So if I can be of any help in assessing Tennessee gas issues.
Appreciate it.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't hesitate to ask.
Thank you. We're so happy to have guests and just to have some public engagement. That's the main reason we sent that letter, because I don't think anybody knew that we existed. And, we're always interested in hearing from anybody who's in the ACEC or in the watershed. I think we were chatting with Tim a little bit, Rich, before you came. I think he lives upstream from you.
Mhm. So you live up on Yellow Hill?
On Sawmill.
Okay, yeah, I'm at the very bottom of the brook,
Oh, okay.
right by the river.
Okay. Yeah, we're towards the top by the pond. That's
Yeah,
and we're immediately downstream of that.
right.
However, not in the ACEC.
Not in the AC.
We have to be aware of that in this committee, that we're impacting others
Yep.
that have been left out of the loop.
Well, that's why we expanded the letter to go to way
Fortunate.
more people than just the
Fortunately,
ACEC.
you're with us.
Yeah.
I have
Okay.
a silly question. Can the ACEC be, I'm just curious, is that just sort of immutable?
Can it be
Can it be
amended?
expanded?
Can it be amended to be expanded to certain areas if?
Good question.
we can-
I thought the program was essentially now defunct in the state, that the ones that exist now exist, but my understanding was that the program itself had ceased to exist.
Oh.
Which is not to say that the ones that are already so designated or have lost their status, but
Right.
there aren't going to be any others.
Interesting.
Oh.
So I would assume that, but I don't know that. That's,
Okay.
it's just, so it's a great question, yeah.
Hmm. I guess I think my first question would be, you know, based on what the requirements are for an ACEC, does it even, you know, should it be expanded? Because it's about an area of critical environmental concern, right? That's what it's called. But I hadn't heard that there's still so much information when you go to the Massachusetts, state of Massachusetts website. There's a whole ACEC section, and
Yeah.
It's a good question. All right. Does anybody have anything else to add? So
I would just say that the next time that the CPC has a meeting that falls on our day, that we should be very circumspect about scheduling it on that.
yeah, I
news is
wrote
that there's
myself
only-
a note.
There's only one more,
That's
and I
all
think
right.
it's next week, and then that's it until
Okay.
April.
Okay.
So, and
Okay.
I'm done.
Okay.
I'm all done, so
Hope you
All
got
right.
what you
I did.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, good. Congratulations. Yeah, I wrote myself a note. When are CPC meetings? So you don't have a conflict.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
asked
okay.
if they stay to the 1 hour thing, and they're like,
No, they will be there till midnight.
I was gonna say it rivals the
Oh.
annual town meeting,
Yes.
so,
Those go long.
yeah.
Ooh. Ooh, okay, well. All right, well then, if nobody has anything else, I'm going to move that we adjourn the meeting. Do we have a second? Yes. Do I have to move? I ask this every week.
Every week. Yes.
I
think
mean,
we
every
do
month,
have to-
I'm like.
I think we just have to have a roll call,
I
right?
think I can just say, yeah.
No, you need a
okay.
second. You need a
I
second.
need a second. Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
Second.
All in favor of
Second.
adjourning?
Aye.
Bye.
Aye, okay.